and welcome back to the Alizee Yeezy Show. I'm your host, Alizee Yeezy, and today I'm joined by stand-up comedian Pete
Pete Rethinasamy, but
Pete Rethinasamy.
Yeah, but if you want to add me on Instagram, it is Pete_comedy, but my Twitter is Pete_Reth.
I like how you get in the promo in within 20 seconds
Well,
of us started.
You know, I got to. Like, I'm nowhere near you. I'm nowhere near as popular as you on online at the minute, but
I guess I'll take that. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I think you've been doing really well recently. Not in a... Oh, that sounded very condescending. Didn't it? Oh, my God. That was so patronising. Well done, Pete.
Well, tell me, what
well.
have I been doing? What have I been doing recently?
Well, I just see on your Instagram, hanging out with Seann Walsh, doing a little tour.
Yeah, that's
How
cool.
did that come about? Because that, to me, when I saw it on your Instagram, I was like, oh my God, that's so random. Good for you. Well done. Sean's cool.
Tour with Seann. Yeah, Sean's, he's amazing. He's been a great help. So I got signed during the recent lockdown.
Yeah, like the 16th one.
Yeah, the one where no one really gave a shit that it was a lockdown. You know that one.
You go outside, and everyone's still walking around.
Yeah, it was like the one where like people didn't give a shit how many walks we went on that day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got signed during that to the same agency that Seann was on, and they were like, "Oh, Pete, do you want to open for Seann like on a couple of these dates?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we did the gigs and we got on well. It was like 3 or 4 hour drive, so if we didn't get on well, that would have been pretty fucking awkward. Can I swear?
Of course you can.
Okay, yeah. Fuck. So I can swear.
Oh wait, no. What did Kadikarus say? He was a guest I had on. You get one. You get one fuck, because with YouTube, right? No, it doesn't matter for Spotify, does it really? But with YouTube, they have an internal script that runs to find out what you're saying. That's how they do the closed caption things automatically. But if you've got too many f-bombs in there,
you can't do it.
Okay,
like so I won't swear. I won't swear.
Say flip instead. That's how we've been trying to get around it. But then I always give up halfway through.
What about feck?
You could try feck. Why not? I can't get away with saying that. Feck. I ain't got the accent.
But if I say
feck,
feck, are they going to be like,
accent,
that's
feck.
an Irishman saying...
Well, I don't know. It's an American company, so maybe they just won't understand.
Flip me.
Flip.
All right, I won't swear. No worries.
out.
No worries, I won't swear. So what was I saying?
About Seann.
So yes, so I was driving. They were like, "Are you available to support Seann Walsh on tour?" Basically, when they say that, they mean, "Can you drive Seann Walsh to the gig?" That's what tour support is basically. And you share the car journey. And if it's really awkward and you don't get on, then it's a pretty bloody awkward car journey. But yeah, the first one we did was in Portsmouth, and Seann absolutely smashed the gig. And obviously, I was thinking, oh, I've just been signed. I'm pretty good, right? And I went on, and I was getting laughs. And he came on at the end, and he obliterated the gig. And then I think the whole way back, we just got on because we were like talking about comedy, and like I was buzzing because I'd seen him absolutely smash this gig, and he was just a bit like. Like, right, it's normal for me, you know what I mean? So, like, and then every time, like, we get in the car with Seann, because he's always like, right, where are we fucking going? Oh, sorry, I can't swear.
Where are we flipping going?
Yeah, he's like, every time I'd get in the car with Seann, he'd be like, right, where are we off to now? And I'd be like, mate, you don't get it. This is like my dream. You know, I used to watch this guy on TV, and here I am now gigging with him, and I'm having a laugh. So obviously, like, for me, it was a big deal. It's a big deal, but it's just another day for him. But
yeah.
But it was cool. It's a big deal, like, obviously, isn't it? Opening for Seann, and then you get to like do these different like theater rooms and like rooms up and down the country where you just get to meet, you know, different people. It's cool, man. It's proper awesome. Yeah. So that was a fantastic.
How long did you go on tour for?
So tour works differently to what I thought it was. I thought it was like, you know, you go on tour and you're away for months on end, but like you'll do like 3 days and then you'll come back to London and then you'll do your other gigs and whatever. And then maybe in a few weeks' time you do another few days. But like I don't do a whole run. I'll do like a few dates here and there. So the most recent one, we went up to Buxton and we went to Barnsley. And those were interesting areas.
How come?
Well, it was just like, I don't know, we were walking around looking like, I don't know, it's just different to London, isn't it? Everyone's white for a start. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's very different to London. Like, and obviously, and Seann doesn't care as well. Like, he'll have a passionate conversation about comedy in the middle of the street. So it's me and him sort of going at it, and people are like thinking, is that Seann Walsh berating an Asian man in the street? But it's like we're talking, you know, openly and having a laugh and whatever. But no, it's cool. It was cool. The last 3 dates were really fun. So
Did you get to have any like diva demands on the tours? Like, oh, I'd like a bowl of M&Ms, but only the red ones.
No. The only thing that Sean wants is, and he's not even fussed by it. It's just because you drive a long journey, you're in the car a long time, and we sometimes don't get to stop for food because we're going to be late for the gig, so we have to just drive straight there, and we're starving. So the only thing is bananas and water, and that's it.
That's right. That's very healthy.
Yeah, and he did a recent post about like there was these green bananas, and he was like, "When the hell am I going to eat these in 3 months' time?" Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's easy going. It's good fun. It's good fun, man.
That's cool. No,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I'm really pleased for you.
Yeah, it's because you did stand up, didn't you?
Well, I did a tiny bit, and then the neurosis caught up with me. Is it neurosis or is that something else? Neuroticism? Neuroticism is neurosis, isn't it?
What does
No,
neurosis
it's
mean?
probably not. Where's your laptop? You should be Googling this stuff, Kesmotion.
What does neurosis mean?
Yeah, what's neurosis mean? Is it mean? Is
Am
it
I
mean? Is
being
it
an idiot
mean?
asking
Fucking
that?
hell. Flip it out. What's neurosis mean? Do you know when you just read neurotic?
So,
The insecurity's creeping.
mild mental illness.
Mild mental illness sounds about right, doesn't it?
It's not caused by organic disease. It involves symptoms of stress, depression, anxiety, obsessive behavior.
Stress, depression,
So
anxiety.
every
stress,
comedian on the circuit then, isn't it? Like basically every comedian has that.
I feel like I'd be in good company then, but I can't. This episode's not about me; it's about you. But I can't jump that barrier of okay, I'm going to do this. Maybe it won't be good to begin with, but that's okay.
Yeah, because it was the Cav we met at, wasn't it? Which is very new material
I think
and very new comedian.
I saw you years ago at a stand-up night though, because I remember that. I don't know. I just remember vaguely. Oh, that person's Irish.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Well, and you looked familiar, which is why it feels like the Cavendish Arms.
Cavendish Arms, yeah.
Yeah, if it was then, that's probably like why I approached you afterwards. So I'm very sure that I'd seen you like years ago. And sometimes when you're out like living in London, you're going to the circuit or whatever, it's nice to then see a few years later like people doing really well. Because there's a few people that I've sort of from 6 years ago even still kept in touch with, and you can see like they're at different stages and they're getting all. Do you know who I met once actually? Nish Kumar. He was opening
Nish
for
Kumar,
Noel
yeah.
Fielding in Shoreditch, and now he's got like shows on TV. I was like, fair
Yeah,
play.
it's weird, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
but I'm still new at this. I'm still like, I love learning from other comics and whatever. But I feel like you're always, it's full of a lot of rejection and few successes,
Yeah.
which is shit when you think about it. You know, you don't want to be doing something that's like that because it's a lot to take, you know? It's
Yeah.
like constantly getting, I don't know. But then when a success comes, you're just like, okay, right, I've got that now, but I still want to get more. Do you know what I mean? So it is hard to be in. Hard, like, mentally taking those knockbacks and whatever. But you take it from the audience every night. If you go up and say a new joke and it just falls flat on its face, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
but it's bad enough being on YouTube and like doing videos, and some of them work, some of them don't.
Yeah, I
very
suppose
irritating.
I still have to do the open mic circuit of YouTube. Is that? Do you reckon I'll be all right at that?
I don't know. That's not so. What do I watch at the moment? I just watch videos of like this lady cutting dog's hair. That's what I watch on YouTube. So I'm no good. It's my job, like to be on this platform, being aware of what's going on. But the stuff I watch videos that have like 300 views of like. Do you remember Abe's Odyssey? Did you ever play?
Yes, I
Right.
did,
People. They take Abe's Odyssey. They hack into it. So
Yo,
they add their own-
yo,
Yeah. They have their own little bits. Basically, these people.
That was like the best game on the PlayStation, wasn't it?
These people basically make their own levels using like some sort of hack or a ROM or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then they play through their own levels of like varying difficulties, and they get like 500 views or so each. And I'm one of those views. I sit there and that's what I do. I watch them.
Oh, really? Oh, what? So you just watch people playing homemade levels of Abe's Odyssey?
It's
That
really
is such a
addicting.
weird. That is such a weird niche.
It's
to
so
like, to like be
addictive.
into. You know what
It's
I
so
mean?
satisfying to watch
I
because
bet
they
you
play it really
I bet your
well.
viewers are getting like an insight into your mind right now. Like,
They always do that every time I'm on
like,
podcast.
do you know what? Actually, I'm not that interested in this girl anymore. Let's click off. Let's go and watch some Abe's Odyssey
It's good. Give it a go.
homemade levels.
Well, let's go way back, all the way with you, right?
All the
When
way.
did you start to know that you liked comedy? Were you?
I
were,
feel like
were
this
you
is like
funny
this
at
is
school?
your life. Like you're bringing out your big red book. Was I funny at school? I liked to mess around at school.
Yeah.
I liked making, fart noises under the old armpit and whatever.
How old were you then? Like 16?
No, I remember that was the first thing that was the first thing I ever laughed at in school, and I couldn't stop laughing because I'd never seen like someone do a fart. Like I was obviously first. What's that year? What is it over here? Well, your first year of primary school. What's it called?
Year R. Yeah.
Reception.
Year R.
So that was the first thing I ever laughed at, and I couldn't stop laughing like the whole day when my mate did it. And obviously, because I'm fascinated, like, how do you make your armpit fart? Like, and a fart's always funny, isn't it? So I remember that was the very first thing I laughed at in school. And ever since then, I was like, oh, I want to make people laugh. Okay, so I wanted to make people laugh because of a fart noise under the armpit. So that's where that's what made me want to be a comedian. No, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I was always considered, I remember I got one report in school. Mm-hmm. Like, you remember my dad's Indian, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't mess about. I know sometimes people get a bit tense when you talk about Indian parents, like being strict and whatever, but they don't mess about when it comes to school. And I remember one time my teacher said, Peter's a likable student, right? And Peter's a likable student, but he just hasn't learnt to focus and channel that energy into getting good grades. And I basically got all D's or whatever, so I did crap, and my dad just called me a likable asshole for the rest of the year. It's like, you likable asshole. Like, I literally just got called for that whole year by my dad. So my dad was very strict on me, but it was almost like and then he'd kind of like not lock us in the room to do our studying, but say you have to stay in your room. God, I'm really putting my dad down here, aren't I, with this? But he was very strict with the studying, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it was almost like when he did that, I was like, right, okay, lock me in the room. No, I'm doing nothing. So it was almost like I was saying, F you to the system.
Yeah.
Kind of like. And that was why I didn't really do well in school, and I left school at the age of 16.
Oh, what'd you do then?
I went to National Youth Theatre.
So you went to the theatre?
Yeah, because I loved, I think I saw Lord of the Rings, and I thought, oh God, these guys are class act. Well, no, I watched the special features, and I saw they lived a nice life going to all these movie premieres and stuff, and I was like, so it wasn't even the acting or anything, it was like the glamorous life they were leading. I was like, I want to do that. And I think that was when I researched what Orlando Bloom had done, and he went National Youth Theatre, so I was like, oh, I'll just go there then. And I auditioned and I got in, and that was that.
What, did they hold an open audition? And that was it?
Yes, so apparently only 500 or 300 to 500 get in out of like 2,000 applicants. So I think that's pretty good.
No, that is.
That's
pretty
pretty good, isn't it? Like,
yeah, well done.
And it was the lady from, here's me blowing smoke up my own ass here, do you know what I mean?
Go for it, that's what this is for.
It was, who was the lady? It was called, I think her name is Froggy in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. She gave me the audition. And she was lovely. And I remember feeling so comfortable. And if it was someone else, I probably wouldn't have done a good audition. But I did it's Jack Black School of Rock. The man speech. That was my audition. And that got me in. So. Oh,
that's amazing. How long were you there for?
Well, National Youth Theatre is like you're a member. I did it late. When I did it, I was 21. So from 16, when I left school, I was just working in pubs and stuff. I was a bit of a tearaway. Like, and then I remember my mates were still in school, and I was working in this pub, and like, I'd ring them on their like lunch break to come down to this pub because it had a hotel room, and we'd just do wrestling moves on each other in the hotel room for like their whole lunch break, and then it'd be like, all right, mate, see you later, off to school again, see ya, and I go back and work in the bar.
Did that not make you feel maybe not left? I don't know if left out would be the right word, but
left out. No, because bar. What you mean left out? Like that they were still in school and whatever.
Well, kind of a little bit because you're out there, doing a job, and your mates are still in education.
So my dad was like, right, you're gonna get your driving test as well, so you can do the school run. Because I had younger brothers and sisters, a younger brother and sister, and 2 younger brothers and 1 younger sister. And I've got an older sister, but when it was doing, my dad was like, right, instead of mum doing the school run now, you're going to do it. So when I do the school run, I go and hang about with my mates at school. So it was kind of like I was at school still. Well, or I'd go and see my mates at school, so it didn't really affect me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that was my dad using me to obviously so because he started his own business, right? My dad's always in starting businesses, and he wanted mum to be like the secretary. So he would be like, right, Jane, you can't do the school run anymore. Pete's going to do the school run. He'll go off and do the school run. He'll work in the pub, and then he'll go and get the kids and pick them up. So I was like, I was not only basically the stay-at-home mum, but I was also a barman as well. So that was like my life from 16 to 21, and breaking into buildings and messing around, and like we'd break into abandoned buildings. This is what we had to do when we were younger because the internet wasn't as big as what it is now.
What would you do in the abandoned buildings?
There's abandoned buildings. There's an abandoned building in Brentford. It was called the Lucasade building. You may all know it if you drove past it on the motorway. It was an abandoned building. We go in there, start fires, and I don't know, just mess around basically, like have fun. Do you know what I mean? Doing what kids should do. Not that I'm advising people to go out and start fires, but it was like, you know, we just mess about, have a few drinks and whatever. It's living life, man.
And then you went to the National Theatre.
National Youth Theatre.
National Youth Theatre. Is that the one where... Is that the same place where Orlando Bloom, like, fell out of a window? And he broke his back or something? And then he went and did Lord of the Rings? Is
that true?
Maybe I made that up.
National Youth Theatre was like a mini uni. Because you stayed there for 2 months and do the course during like the holidays, which was held at like a uni halls. So it was kind of what I'd imagine going to uni is. So he fell out of a build. So that's where
Fell out of a window.
Well, he's been.
I reckon he was stoned.
No, you would get pretty smashed at these things because it was like there's no adults around. It's even run by kids. Like they're like it's run by young people. Do you know what I mean? So it was like there was no real adults to tell you off. I remember I got like really drunk one evening and I stayed in one of the rooms and it was like bunk beds and I threw up and like I was on the top bunk and I threw up and like it threw up on all like this kid's head basically who was on the bunk below. And like because it's not run by adults, it's kind of like, you know, the supervisors are like 18 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
And one absolutely bollocked me for it. Was like, look at you, it's a disgrace. You think the world's against you? And he had a right go, mate. I was like, I literally got berated by this kid, and I literally came away thinking, do you know what? I probably would have preferred that from an adult.
Yeah.
Rather than someone my own age telling me, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was good. No, National Youth Theatre was quality. And I did a couple of theatre shows with them up and down the country, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, what type of theatre?
So they did one on the Bradford riots, and I played a taxi driver called Imran. So I was kind of typecast. So I was a Muslim taxi driver, and but it was good fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I met one of my good mates, who's my good mate now, and we used to mess around again there. So we'd like sort of not take the piss, but we'd have a laugh. And the director got a bit, you know, come on, stop messing around, take it seriously. But me and him had a laugh. His name's Akil, and he's a filmmaker now, so he's doing really well. Yeah, Akil Ahmed. But he's doing a lot of TikTok mini films, and yeah, he's doing really well. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I'm glad I went because I met him.
Yeah. No, that's just nice.
yeah, I know.
My brain just got taken away with like TikTok then because it's the website to be on, like doing TikTok content, but
it's so quick, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's dire.
Are you on it?
Yeah, I don't like it.
And are you doing well on it, or?
I haven't been putting in the effort, to be honest, because you can just feed the algorithm loads on TikTok and then you'll see results. I've already seen some results with some little TikToks I've done, you know, immediately get like a few of them have had like 40,000 views, and I didn't have a TikTok like 2 months ago, but it's a pretty dire website, like the people on there.
Yeah, I did one. I did a couple of videos that got like 200 views, 300 views, and then I did one about like I did one about do you know when the police were like arresting people, or they were saying if you leave your hotel once coming back from holiday during the whole lockdown, if you leave the hotel, then we're going to arrest you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to jail, basically.
Yeah.
So I did one on that, like, taking the piss out of that, and I got, like, 350,000 views on it. And then I had, like, people in India messaging, because they obviously see the video was doing okay, right? And they'd there was a, like, a protest going on about Indian farmers or something, and they were like, "Speak up for the Indian farmers," and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm not the voice of India. Do you know what I mean? But they obviously see that I'm an Indian guy.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to sort of comment on it, but it was just like, well, I don't know anything about this, but it was quite big in the news in India at the time. So yeah, I see what you mean about there being a lot of, like, weird things going on TikTok. Like,
yeah, I mean, that can also happen on YouTube a bit, but you just kind of ignore it. But for some reason, I've just noticed on TikTok, I don't know, it's a very, like, the comment sections. I'll spend quite a while going through the comment sections.
Oh, you don't read your comments, do you?
No, not on my TikTok. On other people's. Sometimes there are some TikToks that are quite questionable, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll just, like, send them to, like, one of these lots and just be like, size, open comments. Because you just, like, TikTok comments are so harsh.
Yeah,
way harsher. I've disabled TikTok comments on mine.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I'm a YouTuber and I do YouTube and I speak to people, like, via this platform, and I sometimes reply back to comments on my big videos sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That's enough for me. I'm not going to TikTok to make friends.
Yeah,
and after seeing, like, the comment sections on TikTok, like, I'm glad that I went with that decision to disable the comments, because it's like the Wild West over there.
No, I know. It was like, there was one on mine, and the guy was like, this video is shit, right? It's like basically slating my video, yeah. And my girlfriend's like, oh, don't respond. She's like, stop reading the comments, and like, I should not read them, but you want to read them, right?
I like reading other people's just because, because they're well harsh. People can't comment on my TikToks, and I saw, like, my videos themselves on YouTube. Like, I wouldn't have the time to go through and read, like, hundreds of comments. And
I make time.
No, it's not mentally healthy. You can't do it.
I know I shouldn't, and that's what Charlotte said. Charlotte, my partner, she's like, don't read the comments. But there was this one guy I replied to, and it was like a back and forth, back. Oh, you're just a prick, man. And he gave me back and whatever. And then I looked on his profile, and the one video that he'd posted was him in a club spitting in a girl's mouth.
There you go, class
so
act.
It was like, okay, I think I win this one. This guy's an idiot. And then Charlotte was like, see, don't engage. So.
Yeah, and sometimes people leave neggy comments because, like, they want you to interact with them because, like, it will turn out that they're a fan or whatever as well. Like, that can happen. I see that happen to other people. Obviously, I don't bother with that kind of thing. It's just, it's not mentally healthy, because one of two things will happen if you start reading all your own comments. The negative ones, if there are, like, many, will get to you. Like, they just will. Like, some of them might not, but then you'll get one that will get through your barriers and be like, oh, actually, and then you'll, like, chew over it for a few days, whatever. Or you'll believe all the comments gassing you up, and then your head won't be able to fit through a door.
Oh, no, we're getting
I get a lot of comments on my videos, and they're all some variation of, or most of them are some variation of, oh, you're so great. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm just me. I'm not great. I can't be reading this.
But it's like, when you get one like that, even on Instagram, if you get one like that, you're like, yeah, I know I'm great. Yeah, or you're like, okay, whatever, you like it. But it's when you get a bad one, it's kind of like, okay. So I need to look at that part. Like, I don't know. That's why I think I need to look at that part of myself. Like, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I take the ones that are like, oh yeah, you were funny or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, cool. Like, whatever. It doesn't make me feel any better or whatever. But it's when you see those ones that are a bit hurtful, you're like, oh, they think that about me. It does hurt. It does hurt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So
but I didn't think it would. No, but like, because when I'm quite thick-skinned, so like when I was growing up and whatever, if someone would say that to me in person, I'd be like, I don't care what you're saying. But when you read it and you can read it, you're like, oh, that person's actually taking the effort to send me that message. Do you know what I mean? It hurt. It goes deeper. I don't know, but that's why I've been told not to read comments.
No, absolutely don't. That's my number one rule. Don't engage and don't read the comments. Or if you do engage with, like, the positive ones. I usually just engage with ones that are funny if I find them funny. But my audience is quite funny, so I'm lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
I've cultivated that type of space and audience.
I can imagine that would have been hard in the beginning, though.
Yeah, way back then. I guess it's always difficult in the beginning, because if you're getting, like, say 5 comments on a video that you've done, you do want to be a bit involved and read them, and it's interesting because you're interacting with people from wherever who normally you wouldn't interact with, whatever. But usually in the beginning you're not very good,
Yeah.
So
That's what I mean. The open mic circuit of YouTube,
yeah.
where it's like the start, you know.
Yeah, because there's quite a learning curve with YouTube. But then I suppose, like, if you're in the open mic circuit doing stand-up, like actually out, even if you do bad, people aren't going to come up to you and be like, this is bad. But if you do it
No,
bad...
but they let you know by being silent.
Yeah, but they don't come up to you and be like, that was shit.
No,
that
and
would
it
just be
doesn't
mean.
it doesn't stay on the internet, so it doesn't stay up for everyone to see.
But if you do a bad video, people
Yeah.
can comment being like,
Oh,
this
no.
is well
Oh,
shit. And then
God.
that can minimize like your motivation to continue doing it.
Yeah,
You know,
because
so it's a
if there was
different bag.
videos of my first gigs, I'd probably people would be like, no, because he said that. Nah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're learning. You need to learn.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to, but some of the stuff I was saying in the very beginning was trash.
Well, let's talk about that. When did it go from theatre to interested in stand-up? Did you like watch stand-up comedians when you were younger?
Yes,
Who did
Kevin
you like?
Bridges, Seann Walsh, Michael McIntyre, Dave Chappelle.
Nice.
Just, do you know the Christmas DVDs? I mean, that makes me sound old, but I loved sticking on, you know, or when it was on at Christmas and like someone would get a present, they'd put it on and the whole family would watch. And like, obviously Kevin Bridges is like, you know, Scottish. There's a lot of similar crossover topics, you know, growing up in Belfast and like him being Scottish, with the Catholic Protestant thing, you
Yeah.
know, Celtic Rangers and whatever.
And disliking the English.
Yeah, kind of. Because the funny thing about me is when you're in Belfast, you're brought up to think, well, when you're in a Catholic school, you're like, oh, the English is the enemy, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then when I came over to England, when I moved to England at the age of 15, 16, I remember thinking, these people are all right. Do you know what I mean? No, but like, I was like, why have I been, not that I was told, but the people you hang about with, it's like, you know, you're
Sure.
sort of...
It's kind of tribalism,
Screw the
really, isn't
English.
it?
Yeah, it's kind of like...
It's kind of like being English and like, you know, when you're a little younger, like really young, I mean 8 or so, and you're learning about history or whatever, and you hear your parents, or maybe not your parents, shouldn't drop them in the, but you know, like the whole English versus French thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh yeah, the
Yeah.
French and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And it's like, where does this come from? My mate who's behind the camera, he watches a lot of documentaries, and he doesn't know where the French or they always surrender thing comes from. You were saying like it's just like not really historically accurate, is it? You know. But you grow up. What?
They've had a strong military history.
Oh,
They've had
yeah,
a strong military history.
Isn't
Bloody hell.
that they're doing that?
Yeah, for
That's
because against the archers, because
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
cut their fingers off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know about
But
that
why
stuff.
would you? Yeah. But why would
Yeah.
you cut their fingers off? Why didn't you just cut their head off?
I don't know. Now the biggest irony is that like my boyfriend's French, so.
Oh, is he?
Well, yeah, he's half French. What a bloody irony there. We're joining the two countries together.
Because obviously you don't hate. I don't think the majority. Well, maybe the majority of English do hate the French, but it's just a funny.
Yeah, it's like
Thing
a funny kind of like ribbing.
Yeah, it's
and
ribbing.
I think it's
isn't
the
it?
older generation because like the younger, I don't ever hear the younger, but growing up like listening to the old generation say that kind of stuff. The type of people who watch like Dad's Army.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I know. And like when you go to France, sometimes they purposely won't speak. They'll just speak French, and they'll make you speak. I've had that where they're like, no, I'm not going to speak English. They're like speaking
That's
French,
funny,
and then
though.
at the end they'll go, thank you very much, and I'm like, you could have just had the conversation rather than me getting my book out.
They're trolling you. That's
yeah,
funny.
they're trying to get you
Yeah.
to no, you're going to speak our language, you know what I mean, which is fair enough. But I do feel like I have to clarify to them, but I'm not actually English, so you don't have to.
Don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to speak like that with me. But I don't know. They probably just think anyone that speaks English is English, you know. But yeah, what were we talking about before?
How did you get into stand up? How did you go from that to that?
So I always like the DVDs. I always like watch. I find them hilarious, man. Even now, when I watch comedy, I struggle to think how an audience can sit there and not piss themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, I find that often in London audiences, they'll sort of sit back and be like, oh, yes. Oh, darling, that's funny.
Stop.
And it's kind of like that. Whereas I'd be at a comedy show, like, slapping my mate. You know, this guy, you know, I'd lose my shit when I go to a comedy show. But the Londoners, I don't know, I'm not having a go on. Oh, yes.
Where have you been doing gigs? Like Hampstead?
Southeast London. Oh my god! Like it's kind of like just give him a bit of a, you know, very good, jolly good, and it's sort of sit back and relaxed. You know, it's like they're having a Sunday dinner and watching comedy. Do you know what I mean? So I don't. But then when you go up north, it seems to be more like there'll be roar of laughter, and then it will erupt into a round of applause, and they're feeling it, man. I love it. But sometimes when I get a crowd that's like, oh, it's a bit mellow, I'm like, what do I need to do to raise this room to the point where they're losing their shit? So I enjoy that side of comedy. And when I started a comedy, and you saw me within my first year, I think.
Maybe.
So that was at the Cav, because I used to do my early gigs at the Cav because it was very friendly. I almost quit comedy before doing that because I went to a show where I was doing I was trying to find my 5-minute set. That's how comedy works. When you start out, you get your first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'd written this set and it wasn't funny at all. If I show, I would never show you. You're never going to see it. You're never going to get access to that because no one's ever going to see it. It was so terrible, right? It was awful. And I've kept it on a drive and I'm going to burn that drive when I do live at the Apollo because it's literally, it deserves to be in hell, that set, right? So I went and did my first 5 minutes and it was terrible. And I did it in a pub in Tottenham Court Road. It was above a pub. It was in like some dingy room. And oh my God, I came out of that gig. It was my 6th gig because the first 4 were like supportive gigs, you know, like, oh, come on. Yeah, great. Great. Go for it, Pete. We love you. And it's like, you know, they're made to be supportive. Whereas when you go to an audience that don't know you and you're saying that stuff, it was very embarrassing. And it was the first time I've come out, first time I've literally thought in my head, I'm worthless. Like that was the worst. That was pretty bad feeling coming out of that gig and feeling like these people don't find me funny. And another thing is like the rest of the comedians, they don't want to talk to you because you're not funny, right? So they're just like, oh God, that guy had a bad. So they're kind of like, you know, ignoring you. So that was the worst feeling. And I said to my girlfriend who was saying, you know, come on, do stand up. You should try it. She got me actually she got me a course, a 2-day course. I think it was like some comedy course where they teach you to do stand-up comedy, and at the end of the 2 days, you do a gig in a pub, and that was one of the supportive gigs. And obviously, like, I smashed because everyone did, because it's like, you know, they're made to make you feel great and whatever. And I smashed, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be a comedian. Like, I can do this. And it was a massive reality check when I went to that gig where I felt like nobody wanted to talk to me. And I literally was like, I can't do this, Charlotte. It's terrible. I can't do it. I can't go through that. And then I think it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I went back and did another one because I sort of thought, you know what, it wasn't that bad. And then I went and that's when I went to the Cav and it was a bit more supportive. And I think that's an important thing is if you're going to do stand-up, go somewhere where it's supportive so you can get your, you know, reserve games in. Do you know what I mean? Where you sort of like learn a bit of technique and stuff, you know? But yeah, it was my girlfriend that told me to do it. She said, yeah, go and do, you should be a stand-up comedian. Because I've always pissed around in an office and stuff. Like my aim in every office job I've had is to get fired. Once I've passed my probation, is to see what I can get away with to get fired. And I've always been like that in every single job I've had. Let's
hear a few.
So I worked at Gumtree. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I worked at Gumtree. And I used to I got on well with my boss and stuff. His name's Albert. He was cool. Like, he used to find me funny and stuff. But then I'd been there so long and I was like, oh, actually, I got bored, you know. And when I get bored, that's always bad because I always try and get fired. So, and one of my mates was an actor. And I was like, fuck it, should we just like try and be actors? And he was like, yeah. So we both just went and handed in our notice. And then I was like, oh, I kind of regret handing in my notice. But I want to make this like stick. I want to, you know, stick by my guns. So I went and deleted all the leads. Like all the leads that they'd paid for, I deleted them. I was like, went through the system, delete, page, delete, page, delete. And then I saw like this commotion. It was like a film. I saw like this commotion going on in the office, right? And they're like, what's going on? And then they're like, it's Pete, he's deleting the leads. And I'm like, delete. And then my boss gets me in the room. He's like, Pete, are you deleting all the leads? And I was like, no. I was like, screw this, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, so that was Gumtree I walked out of. And people will clarify that story. People will literally clarify that story. And then the next job I did was, what other job did I get? So I worked for this company. Oh, it was a terrible company. I'm not even going to name drop them because it's such a scummy little company. And it was in like some warehouse in Liverpool Street. And it was run by a husband and wife, and I knew they got into arguments and stuff because he'd come in with scratches on his face and stuff, and I'd just be like, oh my God, they've got a terrible relationship. And it's just like, you can tell there'd been, it was awkward, right?
Yeah.
So I worked beside this guy, and I think the guy that next to me was kind of like, I don't know whether he was living in a hostel, but he smelled of shit every day. Like, he smelled of actual shit. And it was awful. I was like, this guy, like, the guy actually smelled like really bad, to the point where, like, what if I smelled the shit? What would you say right now? Would you be like, you tell these boys after?
Yeah, probably.
I
wouldn't say anything to you because I'm just so British in that regard. I'd be like,
but you talk about it with these boys out. Did you smell him? You'd say, right? You'd be like, did you smell that guy?
I don't know, because I think I'd feel kind of like embarrassed for you.
So anyway, that guy, like, I used to mess around in that office, right? Yeah, exactly. I was embarrassed. I didn't turn around to him and say, you stink of shit, bro. I didn't say that. I wouldn't do that. But I thought in my head, there's a smell, and it's only here when you're here. So I'm thinking that in my head. Anyway, he lost his shit with me one day because I was messing around. I was like messing around, pissing about. And he used to fancy these like old black and white photos of film stars.
What?
Yeah, like he'd just be like, no, just get them up and look at them. So he'd have like old photos of like film stars, like of busty women, and he'd just look at them. And I'd be like, and then he'd click, see the next one. Click. And I looked at him one day, I was like, bro, what are you doing? This is weird. And he goes, listen, just stop this shit, all right? And he had a go at me. I'll knock you out. And he had a proper go at me. I said, fuck. I was like, oh, I can't swear. I was like, F you, mate. And like, sort of shouted it. And it was kind of an argument. And they were like, right, Pete, it's probably time for you to go. And I was like, why doesn't the guy who smells of shit get fired? Why was it me that got fired? But to be honest, I kind of wanted to get fired from that job because it was so crap. And then I worked for the Daily Express when they were running their Brexit campaigns and stuff. So obviously me working for the Daily Express, it was kind of like that sort of, blood money for me. It was kind of like, okay, well, I need that money. I need the money, so I had to work for them. But everyone in the office that worked in that office, the advertising office, was really cool. Even though you'd think, it's a really racist, you'd think it's kind of, racist newspaper and whatever. But the staff that worked there were lovely, so I enjoyed that job.
Yeah, because sometimes that kind of thing, it's just a job for some people.
Yes, exactly. And they're lovely. They're kind of down to earth. And I was actually offered redundancy at that job. And that was the time where I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it as a stand-up. And I had never done a paid gig in my life when I accepted redundancy and thought I'm going to go full-time at comedy. I'd never had a paid gig. And I did it. And it obviously paid off because I'm making money from comedy.
Yeah, no, that's amazing that you took that leap and just did it.
Well, yeah, because, mate, you live once in this life, do you know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
So I thought, screw it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously I had the support of my girlfriend, because she was making a bit of money. So, when you've got that financial backing, you take it.
Yeah, I mean, you've just been doing that ever since.
yeah. But now I'm making a bit of money as well. It's not like I'm leaning on her, but at the time it was kind of like, there was a big pressure, because I was like, oh, have I made a mistake? Because comedy, I don't think, is what it was like back in the day when they were doing the DVD specials and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't know. I just think that, like, audiences are harder to please for a start.
In what regard?
Well, like, when you watch old clips of Live at the Apollo, people give a round of applause for a sneeze. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they'll clap anything. Whereas now you have to work for a clap. You literally have to tell a banger of a joke to get a round of applause. So I think it is harder.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because you've done gigs.
Well, ages ago. So my opinions just aren't like, I'm not qualified enough to have an opinion on it. Because it's like, yeah, sure, I did a little bit of that. Haven't in years. The only like quote unquote on stage thing I've done in the last year is I did a bit of singing in a church in front of people.
Oh, well, yeah, but you're not going to get heckled at that, are you? It's like...
No, but it was funny though, because like I'd worried about we had to check. I did Katy Perry fireworks, right? That was what my singing teacher gave me. I do singing lessons
In a church.
Well, the church was just like the event location.
Oh, right, okay.
Because they rented
so
it
it
out.
wasn't like during
it wasn't
during
like-
a mass.
No, it wasn't like a gospel
Right,
choir.
I know, because if you were singing Katy Perry during the mass, then that'd be a bit weird.
Yeah, really getting like the old people to get up and, you know.
yeah.
No, it was just like it was
So,
a
so you're a
student
singer
thing.
then?
No, I just do singing lessons
All
for
right.
a laugh.
Okay, well, go on,
Don't-
give us a.
Absolutely not. Oh God, tell us a joke.
yeah. No, yeah. Touche.
Well, actually, I don't know. I've been considering some things recently. You know, I've been reevaluating everything going on. This is the Alizee Yeezy show, but this isn't the Alizee Yeezy hour, so I shouldn't talk about myself. But I've been thinking recently, like, what if I just become a rock star now? What if I just become a rock star next? What if I just do that?
Yeah, but you can.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, well, obviously you've got, you've done what you've done, but you can do whatever you want now.
Well, I'm thinking of it. I'm really.
What, is that what you actually want to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
If you're going to do that, you should do it now.
I think it's just an avenue that I might want to like try and explore. Be a bit of a rock singer. Be a bit of a, I don't know.
You should, because I'll be honest, right? When I did the stand-up, I would never have thought I'd get this far, even though it's not far. But I didn't think I'd even get to this point where I'd get paid gigs. Did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'd be gigging with Seann Walsh, and I've gigged with Kerry Godliman and Susie Ruffle. Like, you're gigging with those people, and you're like, wow, I'm hanging with. I'm nowhere near as good as it, but I'm hanging with these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I do think you should go for whatever.
Oh,
I will
thank
tell you that
you.
for anything. If you
Do you want to
have
be my life coach? I need a new one.
no, but I have this conversation with a lot of people. Like, I was speaking to someone recently, and they were like, "Oh, I'm not having the best relationship," and I'm like, if you're in a relationship with someone who's not making you feel good, why are you with that person?
You know, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Because you don't,
Don't
we're not
waste
here
time.
for long. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you got a bit of time, use that time. So I think if you do want to do it, go for it.
And I think in the last remainder of our time, something very current happened, last night? Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith. What do you think about that? He told a joke and he got slapped on stage.
I don't know. I think I probably would have reacted the same way as Chris Rock, and that was just get really, oh my God, this is awkward. Because
Yeah.
it looked awkward. First of all, the slap looked fake.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah. But then the thing that makes me think it wasn't fake was Chris Rock's reaction. Because he was like, okay, that was... And then he pauses. Someone's obviously saying something in his ear. And then he makes light of the situation, like, oh, that's the weirdest thing that's happened on TV or whatever.
And Will Smith also swore. And
Yeah.
it was live, and they don't,
Yeah, it was
you're
a bit...
not meant to swear during
Yeah,
live.
and he was
so-
crying after, and it was a bit like, oh God, this is intense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm surprised Chris Rock didn't throw back.
I think he held a lot of restraint.
I think, yeah, and like...
I think it also would have been shock though, because basically the Oscars, like, sure, it's a bunch of rich people like patting themselves on the back, but it's a work event and he was doing a job. And I don't think you expect to be slapped at your job. It's not Top Gear and Jeremy Clarkson, that producer, over that steak that one time.
Yeah, and also like I think obviously everyone's sort of saying, oh, you don't berate a woman who's going through an illness and whatever, but I don't know if Chris Rock was particularly aware of the fact that she's got alopecia. Do you know what I mean?
Even then, it was a very tame. It was a tame joke.
Yeah,
It was very tame. We've had
so
who
this is what I
said
mean.
worse?
But this is what I mean about audiences.
Yeah,
It can be very sensitive.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, oh, crap, can I get away with saying that? And Will Smith laughed at the joke.
Well, that's what gets me, because it's like he laughed at the joke, he looks over at Jada, Jada's clearly not impressed. So then from that moment on, when he decided to get on that stage, I just do not find his actions sincere in the slightest, because why were you laughing in the first place then?
Yeah, because it was a bit like, but you don't see Jada's face. You see her going, oh, at the joke, right? But you don't see the point where Will Smith, because Will Smith laughs. You don't see the point where he looks at his missus and go, oh, that's not okay. I'm going to go slap him, and get up and slap him across the face. You don't see that. But I would love to see that, because I'd love to see the point where Will Smith thought, oh, you want me to go and slap him? You know what I mean? Because it was kind of, I don't know. I want to see the whole thing. You know what I mean? But the slap looked fake, didn't it?
Well, they are actors.
I know, but then I watched it in slow motion. It did look like he caught him with his fingers.
Yeah.
So he did catch him. I don't know. It's scary, because now I'm thinking, like, if I go and do a joke at an audience, are people going to think, oh, okay, I can go up and slap him now? Do you know what I mean? If you go a bit too far, like, are they going to feel like, well, Will Smith did it, you're getting it, mate? Whoosh, you know what I mean?
Everyone was thinking that over all the times that Ricky Gervais hosted the Oscars. They're like, well, we could have just hit him.
Yeah, and they're comparing it to Ricky Gervais, and it's like, I do think, have you watched The Office?
Which one?
Well, like Ricky Gervais's, the David Brent Office.
Oh, I prefer the US.
I love The Office. I love Ricky Gervais' The Office, right? And I do think that if Will Smith had gone up and slapped David Brent in the face, it would have been like, oh, you're odd because the camera. Do you know what I mean? It'd kind of be like a funny, you know. I would love to have seen that. I would love to have seen that. But compared to what Ricky Gervais did, Chris Rock got kind of. I think he got it quite hard. Because doesn't Ricky Gervais go up and take the piss out of everyone?
He goes up and basically calls people nonsense. And he's like, oh, yeah, Epstein, I know he was all your mate.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
We're like, this is another thing as well. Like, I think Chris Rock had made previous comments about Will Smith's wife.
I was deep in the lore about this today because I was reading up on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, he's made, well, they're sort of friends, sort of not. He's made like a comment here or that. I mean, I don't know, he's a comedian. I just don't think that people should go around slapping people for saying like maybe ill-tasting jokes or bad jokes.
Yeah,
like,
he should have said. He could. Do you know what would have been acceptable? Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Yeah, say that.
Yeah.
Say it again. He gets it. You don't need to slap the guy.
Yeah, you don't need
Do
to
you know
start
what I mean? But
like
I think
a precedent for it either.
But do you think? I think he regretted slapping him.
I don't know what's going through his head. I've been reading a lot on this thread. I don't know.
Because he's apologized now. I think they've recently like said, okay, yeah, we're cool. It's cool. Like they've talked about it. So I don't know, but I don't know if there'll be a backlash for like will Will Smith get like less work from this situation?
I mean, I doubt it. I don't think so. But then look, if you're working in an office and your coworker says something that like you find a bit offensive, you can't go slap them, can you? If you did, you'd get fired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like, a very good point. But then what happens to the coworker who said the offensive thing?
Probably just be told off by HR.
Yeah. Well, or they both get fired.
Maybe, yeah. If you're having like fisticuffs in an office, because you just can't go around hitting people. It is kind of like.
Do you know what's funny as well? Like if he hadn't have made a big deal and slapped him, less people would have heard the joke.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So now the whole world knows the joke. So he's actually publicized the joke. He's actually made it because I wouldn't have known. It was only because I got it received in a text today because of the slap, obviously. But who would have cared otherwise? Who would have cared?
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you show like a little bit of vulnerability to the world or to the public, if you show that there is something that if people say it's going to get to you, well, you've just given like all of your haters or whatever ammo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's going to be a lot of. I mean, I've been seeing so much discussion about this today. I've been seeing people blame Jada, blame Chris, blame Will, blame all of them.
It's mental, isn't it? Because like there's a war going on right now.
No, that's what I was thinking.
The slap is like the main thing in the world, and it's like come on.
There's a war going on right now. Can we not like
I know,
give
it's
this much attention to these?
But it just goes how stupid the world is right now. Do you know what I mean? That's taking up the whole bloody news rather than a war in Ukraine.
It's just funny seeing like the type of people who are trying to defend it. I wonder if they had that same energy for the Jeremy Clarkson thing when Jeremy Clarkson punched the producer because he didn't get a steak and then he got fired and then like loads of people were like you can't go to an office like punching people and then a couple million people signed an online petition to try to get Jeremy Clarkson reinstated in Top Gear, you know. But I just wonder because like I just like there to be consistency, you know.
I just think it's a joke. You know, I think Will Smith overreacted. He shouldn't have slapped him.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe he's had a bad. Maybe he was drinking. That's still no excuse. You shouldn't be drinking in the office, mate. It's your job.
Yeah, it shouldn't be at work about drinking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oscars. But then he was like partying and rapping along to like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme tune and stuff, you know. And it's like, oh, you're having a good time now. Okay, like you know. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'd cringe, man, if that was me. I would cringe. I felt bad. Even when I was watching it, I was cringing. Like, this is awkward. Like, you know.
I saw a TikTok of someone being like, I think it's called, the guy's called Moyo. He's a TikToker. He's well funny. Your boy Moyo, and he was like, "Look, Will Smith has had enough. He's been nothing but a meme for the last like 5 years. He has had enough.
Yeah,
but now he's going to be a meme for another 5 years. The amount of memes I have seen today about this situation is like mad.
I know. I want to know what they're going to come out and say about it. You know, once the dust settles. But you know what? Chris Rock's a comedian, so he's gonna make jokes about this he's gonna get a good hour out of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll get material out of this 100%. So it's done them both good, probably.
So to conclude this podcast, don't slap people.
Yeah.
Don't go around slapping people at a work event.
Yeah, exactly. Don't slap people.
Have you got anything coming up or doing gigs in London?
I'm gigging a lot up north this week. I think I'm in Nottingham on Friday. I'm somewhere today, luckily close by. Where are we? Hoxton?
Yeah.
This is Hoxton. I'm gigging in
Holborn, you said.
Holborn. God, you know my diary better than me.
I know, I've got an amazing
You
memory
do
that
have a good
I
memory.
waste my memory on rubbish. I tell you, I could have been like a quantum physicist.
Yeah.
But no, on this podcast talking about celebrities slapping each other. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I'd love you to come back sometime and chat more shit
Absolutely.
with me.
Anytime, mate.
And socials to promote?
Socials, Twitter's Pete _ God, I don't even know my Twitter. Pete _ Reth. And Instagram is Pete _ comedy.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening at home, make sure you remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, follow us on iTunes, follow my third channel as well. Check out my first channel because there should be a big video that's gone up by now. And that's all. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.